This is Damian Perdue of Think Theory Radio, Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I thought there was going to be like a new one every break. I was so excited.
You want more, Hal? We'll give you more. Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. Booyah!
Welcome back. Johnny, I don't know if we talked about it. By the way, Johnny's now a member. He's not just a member, he's a member on our YouTube channel, which is infotainmentwars.com.
I'm a member.
That's right. We don't need the documents. Infotainmentwars.com. And that'll send you to the YouTube channel. Please become a member. Think about it. We're trying to grow our membership. We're nearing that 30,000 mark. Fingers crossed we'll get there piece by piece. And it's not just all the Russian bots that have joined lately. I must have cleared some sort of algorithmic needle where they're like, oh my gosh, look, he's growing at an astonishing rate on all of his, where the live stream is, and it was making them nervous. So they have to get in there and start dropping very odd links in the thing, just noise, essentially. It's
just
almost like they
random
stick
stuff about I live in Australia and we're all on lockdown.
Yeah.
I can't leave my house.
My name is Canadian. I'm Barry, and I'm from a place in Ontario,
My name is
also
Canadian.
named Barry. I'm also loving the hockey. So, right now, the East Coast is getting battered right now with what they're calling a nor'easter or a bomb cyclone, which sounds. I mean, how is that not a '80s band?
I don't know, bomb cyclone. It also sounds like strangely hip hop.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a bomb cyclone, dude.
That's a bomb cyclone, dude. Winter storm sweeping northeast is a bomb cyclone. Weather service says several inches of snow hit New York, or as we in Chicago call it, winter.
Snow.
It's so interesting how a lot of the snow stuff that they're like, oh my God, in New York is stuff I was like, yeah, I remember walking to school in that all the time during high school. Thank you, Claudia, for the super chat, by the way. But to all of those listening in that area who are home, I hope you're on the warm side of a bay window and drinking some sort of heated beverage.
Do you remember trying to get your little car, that little stick shift car, through the snow? We had to go somewhere, and it was a nightmare.
No, yeah, it was not good. Luckily,
we couldn't even
lighter.
get out of your drive.
Right. Yeah, we're just all right. You're just staying in. And quite frankly, that's nature telling you stay home and invent something. That's if we learned anything from Sweden, Norway, and stuff. There's a reason why Switzerland and all those places have the Large Hadron Collider, and because cold weather makes you stay in and invent things. There's got to be a way to make these gears smaller. That's this kind of thing. Since it's winter outside, well, I'll just stay inside and shiver and file things down. Right, and this type of thing. So everybody, be careful during that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the economic data, since we've got this audience is here and they're trapped. U.S. economic data says that the U.S. economy grew at the fastest rate since 1984 last year. Oh my God!
What?
Is it great? Yes, because you're recovering. But let me explain something to you, and this is where we need to balance our realities in this circumstance. That's because we cratered in 2020. Now, the growth was no guarantee. This is the other part of it. What people will eventually say, I will say, inflation, for example, grew at an exorbitant amount because compared to where it was because of gas and used cars, people took their stimmies and they upgraded their car. They bought a new to me car. They got rid of their old used car and got a new used car, because new used cars are like brand new cars 6 years ago, which is amazing. Yep. And they just keep getting better all the time. So a used car is a used medium level car right now is a luxury car from 1995.
Yeah, it's way better than the used cars I had to buy.
Exactly. And so people took their stimulus checks and were like, all right, $8,000 for the thing, and I got a $2,000 stimulus check, and I can't spend it because I'm not going anywhere, and I could put it in the bank, or I could just, I know, I'm going to buy, my car's crap, I'm going to upgrade from my car, which I could probably sell for $3,000, that'll roll it in, and I'm spending $3,000 on a $8,000 or $10,000 car ultimately, and I'll be in better position once the economy starts again, especially if I am an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, or I'm, I need to commute to work still once things get started. And that's what they did. And so people saw those consumers coming, drove the price up. There you go. So not that strange. Gas, same way. Nobody was driving. Now people are driving. Take those two factors out. 7% factors in. Again, not since 1982 have we seen, if you ask anybody economically, oh my God, it's the highest inflation since 82. Anybody remember the great pandemic of 81? Of course not. There wasn't one. That was economic factors caused by oil and gas and economic, choices made by the Fed and others. This is not that. Never was. The inflation's caused by supply chain issues. It's largely supply and demand, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, so the economy grew like crazy compared to the year before. So while it's not where it needs to be, still for some people, it's not only above where it was in 2019, but it's pushing past that. It's got, you got a 3% growth over the top of that. So we're at 5.7. We were never at 3. We were 2.6 or something like that, and we're double that plus a little extra. That's great. That's making up for the year and starting to stack the wins. That's a great thing. What people don't recognize, in some cases, we were headed into a recession in February of 2020 already, based on the economic factors, the Trump decisions about the economy, what he thought was important, his idea that there should be a negative interest rate, his tax cut that wasn't paid for, all those kind of things. Those all started affecting the economy. Was it going to drive us to a depression? No. But was it tamping down growth in the economy? Yes, materially. And we were heading into a mild recession at the beginning of that year. It was hidden under the absolute avalanche of how badly he handled COVID. But it was there. His economic choices led to that. So we were already heading into that. We were already going to have a recession. On top of that, COVID hits. So what needs to be known about, Biden's policy for that extra package that we put in, and what's going to come from the infrastructure package, which is not just quote unquote money printing, it's labor and work and growth that's natural to a functioning society instead of just stimulus checks again, for example. It's the kind of growth that's sustainable, because unlike, if you'll notice, that bridge that fell in Pittsburgh lasted a long time before it collapsed and needed to be fixed for a long time. But once they fix it, it's going to stay fixed for decades. And so all that commerce, all those people going to and from work are going to drive over a safe bridge. That extrapolates out to the economy in a growth factor that's enormous and will be felt for decades. And again, this is something Trump could have done. I don't know why he didn't do it other than ego. But this growth, while comparatively to 2020, might be that, oh my God, it grew so much because we were in a hole. Here's what you need to know about the difference between Trump taking over a second term and Biden taking over. Is that growth, that expansion, that salvaging of the economy was not guaranteed.
Hell no.
Without a system to get the majority of Americans vaccinated and a true push to do so, the collapse of the economy could have continued. Without that rescue package, without a push to that, and Trump wasn't running on a rescue package. He was just mad at Mitch McConnell for not wanting to pay voters with a $2,000 stimulus check like the Democrats were talking about. So he was just angry about that. Why can't we just bribe the voter? But he had no plans beyond that. He was just going to pretend it was over and go back to business as usual. Well, what did Trump business as usual give us? A recession in the beginning of 2020. So the salvaging of the economy, the growth that happened, unlike the inflation number, which is referential year over year to where we were in 2020, the growth in the economy last year was based on the policy of the Biden administration when they rolled in and made it happen. You could tell because it happened in quarter 3 and quarter 4 when the growth started to snowball, and is continuing into 2022. Look at the guys who are making Fox Business angry who they bring on from Moody's and Wall Street who are like, yeah, this is great. Wages are up. Costs are going to go down. We're heading towards deflationary measures in so many consumer goods. America's going to be the only functioning consumer economy on the planet in a couple of years. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. We still got a ways to go, but it matters who you elect. And this illusion that, while inflation was going to be year over year, what it was based on last year, that somehow the economy was just going to magically heal itself anyway, shrug, and that the Biden administration didn't play a part in fixing it is ridiculous, childish, and everyone at Fox Business, everyone at MarketWatch, everyone in Wall Street knows better, even if they're lying just to keep their taxes low. We'll be back.
Listening to the House Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out on me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at housesparks.com.
I don't care for you if the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Fuss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
There is a, and by the way, 773-763-9278 is our number if you feel like calling in about the week we've had. And again, while case rates are expanding with Omicron, the number of hospitalizations and deaths is not increasing at the same rate it was, say, under Delta or any of these other waves because of the distance between Omicron spread and lingering Delta deaths and some other Omicron deaths. And largely, that can be stacked on top of vaccination status. It's not a lot of work. This is not mental heavy lifting. And this idea that you're going to have like chicken pox parties with Omicron, which is the idea that's spreading across there, is a terrible idea. We just had a police officer who told the government to KHA, kiss his, and he's dead.
He dead.
He's dead. And from an Omicron strain. And again, the undercounting of the numbers, which goes to that kind of statistical conversation that we're having, contributes to that. Because they're like, well, it's not that bad. Well, you're in a state where they don't want the state to be bad. So they're undercounting it. I mean, Florida, the governor was literally threatening a woman for telling the truth. They were going to raid her house, right? They raided her house at one point. And DeSantis, we now know, won his election as governor at a margin smaller than the death rate from Omicron while he has been in office. Also, the idea that somehow, and yeah, right, and the number of people who have died under Biden is higher than the number who have died under Trump. Well, first of all, Trump had till May before it got up to speed. So we're really only talking about deaths from April on, late April on in the year. Whereas Biden came in with the Trump lack of plan, disdain for science in full swing.
It makes me really mad.
Yep. And then continuing on, only in red districts. And this is kind of instructive, I guess, about the fall, because we have it's 2022, kids. Let me remind you, we have a midterm, and in this country we vote every 2 years. We vote every 2 years. We don't have a presidential election and a midterm election. There's no mid to this term. This is part of the term. We vote every 2 years in this country for all kinds of things that matter and affect people. And that bridge that collapsed in Pittsburgh could have been fixed 3 years ago. But the person that was voted into office, not only by the people who voted for him, but by the people who refused to vote in 2016 didn't vote or didn't feel inspired. What am I inspired to vote? Yeah, but her emails. I don't know if I feel inspired to vote. Well, that's because you have a complete disdain for impoverished people and sick children and anybody but you. The ego involved in shrugging off a vote of any kind, especially if you consider yourself an activist or someone who cares about the issues, is madness. And again, one of our favorite Sparksisms around here, if you are ever presented with a choice of the lesser of two evils, choose less evil. Because by not choosing, you are allowing more evil
You're voting
to
evil.
go forward. Yeah, you are voting evil by not voting. By saying, I don't know, less evil, is there a difference? Well, when you're talking about, say, why did the ACA not have a public option? That level of shrugging. Because if you'd had more people in there and that was a rock solid vote, it'd have stayed in. The Blue Dogs mattered because of a bunch of people shrugging off their vote over the years. Well, what's the difference? The parties are just two legs in the same pair of pants, right? That's the story. And yet, there was no Trump healthcare plan. All the things that Biden got angry about in the Build Back Better plan, we've been talking about insulin for poor people and poor children, managing that cost for all Americans, because again, it's not something you can do without. If you find yourself needing it, this is not like, well, I'll say no to that treatment because it may or may not help me. Insulin is not one of those things. The fact that it's in the Build Back Better plan, or that's part of the actual, that bill is written and put on the floor. It's not 2 weeks away like Trump was always planning. Like we're always 2 weeks away from Trump's healthcare plan.
Yeah, we are.
Even when he had control of the place. What infrastructure plan? He can complain all he wants about how we got out of Afghanistan, but we're out. We are out. After 20 years, we're no longer in Afghanistan. And you know why Trump didn't get us out of Afghanistan? Because the very same leaders that were in the military that told Biden, look, it's going to be ugly. There's no way to get out. We've been in there for 20 years. There's going to be deaths. It's going to be messy. And Trump went, oh, I don't want to hit my polls like that. We'll just stay in. We'll just keep that base and be in Afghanistan forever. We'll always have a forever base.
Take it down the road and let somebody else handle it.
Right. Let it be somebody else's problem. He ran on it, but he never did it. Same thing with infrastructure. Ran on it, never did it. Healthcare plan. Ran on it, never did it. Biden comes in. The American Rescue Plan rescued the economy and created a system where economic growth is skyrocketing. And but for gas, which is measurable to the world market on oil, and used cars, which people, like I said, use their stimmies to put down on a used car, and the availability of new cars because of supply chain stuff, which is an issue that, by the way, the Biden administration is fixing. Ask the folks in Ohio who are going to be working at the new Intel plant that is going to come there, because as part of the American Rescue Package, what did Biden put in? Seed money for loan guarantees for chip manufacturers to start building their stuff here. Anything that is crucial to the United States, the safety and security of the United States consumer, the DoD, all the technology that we're going to need for the future, here. It can be assembled someplace else, namely Mexico. We have a great relationship with them, and they have very skilled workers, and their demographics speak to a growth that will measure that. They've got enough young people that are going to work at factories, and they're going to be smart, and they're going to want to interact with America in a way that previous generations didn't. That's happening now. Could it have happened 2 years ago? Of course. There was no giant leap forward in technology in the last 2 years in terms of the manufacturing of chips as far as just building factories. What about infrastructure? Something magical about 2021 and 2022 versus 2018 or 2017 as far as bridge technology? Did we discover some way to print bridges that doesn't cost any money and like, oh, okay, let's just make a bunch of bridges now? No, nothing changed. except who is in charge, who is representing your taxation. You're going to pay taxes, and you want to be able to direct those taxes to do stuff that makes your life measurably better. And every time that happens in the economy, Democrats are at the helm. Every single time. If you want to chase Star Wars for 8 years during Reagan, while the infrastructure collapses, that's what you get. If you want to get a president that ignores the presidential daily briefing and ends up getting us into a 20-year war, that's your choice. But Democrats have time and time again, even with Jimmy Carter, gave you 2 times as many jobs created during the Carter administration single term than the Trump administration single term, with fewer people alive in the country. Not by percentage, actual numbers. More than Reagan. And then we gave you Clinton. After one term of Bush, we gave you Clinton, and whatever issues you may have with the dude, we had a government surplus at the end of his 8 years. So cush to some degree that people are like, I don't know, between the guy who cares about the life of the planet and the guy who, flew his plane on curious missions during Iran-Contra down to South America and came back coked out of his gourd, I'll take the guy I want to have a beer with. I mean, he just seems like a barbecue-y kind of guy. He's like a little down home. Got us into a 20-year war with a country that didn't attack us on 9/11. I mean, they were all Saudis. Were there training camps in Afghanistan? Yeah. Would a drone strike or a strafe bomb would have handled those things? I mean, we all saw Patriot games, right? No, we got to get dug in. Stay there. Obama comes in, ACA. The ACA has saved millions of lives, and it gets more popular and more functional and cheaper and drives down costs every year. And with the addition of a public option, would allow people to choose between the market forces and something that the government provides at a zero profit margin that they compete with on the baseline, because again, insulin is not something you can do without. There's some elements of our lives that you can't do without. And that's one of them. And that's what a Democrat does when they come into office. And they get crapped on for it. And everybody's like, I don't know, was he that great? Was the Obama? No. People who are alive because of it and their children who got to stay on their insurance plans and still do. Ask somebody whose kid got sick at 25. Because that kid is alive or that family isn't broke because of that. Put a price tag on it. Tell me what that presidency was worth to that person. Trump comes in, 2 weeks. It's going to be in any time now. We'll have it for you. 2 weeks, so have it. Infrastructure bill. It's infrastructure week forever. 4 years in.
So much better than anything that
so much better. And I know all the good people, and I've got the best people and the best words and the thing. And just wait. Give me another shot. Give me another bite at this apple. And then Biden comes in. American Rescue Package gets an infrastructure bill passed in his first year in office. Signs multiple executive orders that are genuinely improving the economy and saving lives and protecting people who are in marginalized communities from discrimination and hatred that they should not have to experience just trying to have a living, just trying to go to work, just trying to walk amongst their fellow humans in the most pluralistic society that the earth has ever known. And Democrats are going to shrug this off? Are you kidding me? Democrats, you think Democrats are going to go into 2022 going, well, but I don't know. What's really happened? People are alive now because of the changes that Biden and Obama made together and the changes that Biden made in his first year. And this childish foot-stomping nonsense, I would prefer if we left that to Trump and his right-wing cronies who are all just mad about some fake election fraud that must have been the reason. It couldn't have been that he never did anything worth a damn. and that the wall apparently doesn't work. We got to take a break. Don't get me started on the fact that if passage across the border is worse than it's ever been, how come it was never that bad during the Obama administration? It's not like the land changed. What changed? They built a wall. Well, gosh, maybe the wall's the problem. We'll be back. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. I'm rant over. I'm good for a moment.